Hello students, welcome to YouTube session. In the last class, we have discussed the chapter 5 problem solving methodology. Just I will take 5 minutes to recap the problem solving methodology part 1. That is the definition of problem solving methodology, the task of carrying out different steps to arrive at the right solution is known as problem solving technique. The steps involved in problem solving technique are problem definition. We should understand the problem clearly. Problem analysis, how to solve the problem, what are the inputs, outputs, etc. Next, design of the solution using tools like algorithm and flowcharts. The next is coding, debugging and testing, documentation, internal and external documentation, maintenance of the program. Next is we have discussed algorithm. What is an algorithm? It is a step-by-step process of finding the solution of a given problem. Steps involved in developing an algorithm are we should understand the problem clearly. Next, detailed study of the outputs to be obtained, and we have to decide which are the inputs required to get an desired outputs, and we have to decide about the process and how to write this process in stepwise manner. Next, analysis of algorithm, that is space complexity and time complexity. Space complexity means how much memory is needed by the algorithm to run. Time complexity means the amount of time to process or execute. Next is advantages and disadvantages of algorithm. Flowchart. Flowchart means it is a graphical representation of a procedure or an algorithm is called flowchart. Advantage and disadvantages of flowchart. Next, symbols used in flowchart. Symbols used in flowchart are, first one is oval or terminal. It is used to start and stop. Next, processing, that is rectangle. It is also used for assignment statement. Next is parallelogram for input and output. Decision making, that is rhombus symbol. Next, arrow mark, that is flow lines to connect the different symbols. The next one is hexagon for looping construct, and connector is circle. And to write the functions, we use predefined process or a functions in rectangle with parallel lines. So next, today we are going to discuss the programming constructs in part 2. What is meant by programming? What is meant by construct? Programming means it is a set of instructions to solve any problem. Next, construct means how the execution of a statements will happen in the program. Means it is the ability to design a proper logic. Can be easily done with the help of different programming constructs. Programming construct means it is the ability to design a proper logic. It can be easily done with the help of different programming constructs. So it is also determine the flow of control, whether we have to execute the statements in order or it will change the order. That is flow of control in a programs. The control instructions in C++ means it will enable us to specify the order in which the various instructions in a program are to be executed. It may be step by step or it will change the order, etc. There are three types of programming constructs, that is sequence, selection and iteration. So these constructs are used in structured programming. What is meant by structured programming? The programming which includes these constructs are called structured programming. Next is, and the language which includes these constructs is called structured programming language. Each of these constructs has only one entry and one exit point. We can design programs using these constructs. So programming construct means it is a construct. It will determine the flow of control in a program. Now we discuss the first construct is sequential construct. What is meant by sequential? Means in order. So the ability of the program to execute the set of statements one after the other from the beginning to the end is called sequential construct. Means the execution of the statements will take place one after the other. Example is given here. First input, process and output. So one single entry and one single exit. So ability of the program to execute the set of statements one after the other. So here we have input statement. Input statement means already we have discussed in the algorithm. That is, this statement is used to input a value to the variable from an input device. What are the inputs required by the program? We should analyze first. That is, how many data is required, which type of data is required. If it is number means whether it is a whole number or a fraction, or the data type is character, etc. Next is process statement. Processing means we have to think of what are all we have to do to get the proper result. That is computation part, main logic thinking. Next is output statement means this statement is used to display the values of the variables or a result on the output device. Here also we should analyze how many results we have to get, what data type of these results, etc. Students, let us discuss one programming example for sequential construct. So, first one is start. That is, it is represented in oval symbol. Module A, one activity in parallelogram. Module B, that is processing activity in rectangle. Module C, the activity that is displaying activity, that is output using parallelogram. Last one is stop. So in this example, one entry using start and one exit using stop. Let us discuss the sum of addition of two numbers or sum of two numbers. Start. Next, input A and B, A comma B in parallelogram. Next, computation part. We will add A and B, that is A plus B, and store the result in sum. This is called process part, that is computation. The next step is output sum or display sum, that is represented using parallelogram. The last step is stop. Stop is exit part. So this is an example for sequential programming construct. Means it will execute the statements one after the other. Input, process and output. The second construct is selection construct. Selection construct is also called conditional construct or decision making construct. It is the ability of the program to allow the user to decide on the execution of certain set of statements based on a condition. So user will write the code. Depending on the condition, the program will execute the statements. Example, we discuss for college admission, the college will receive all the applications, student applications. Next, based on the percentage, they are going to allot for science stream, commerce stream in the first list. So that is, there is a condition, 85% and above for science and 75% and above for commerce, like that. So this allows the user to select the execution of the statement or skip of a set of statements based on the condition. Means selection means ability of the program to allow the user to decide on the execution of certain set of statements based on condition. Okay, there are 5 types of selection construct. The number 1 is simple if, the 2 is if else if, nested if and switch case. So let us discuss one by one what is simple if, what is if else if, nested if and switch case. Selection means based on the condition, user has to write the program and the program will allow to execute the statements. In the selection construct, the first one is simple if. Simple if where we will use means when it is having a one-way branching decision. That is, this is also called one-way branching decision structure. This execute a set of statements or instructions if the condition is true, and if it is false, it skips those instructions and moves on to the next set of statements. So simple if is used when the condition is true. So this executes a set of instructions if condition is true. It is also called one-way branch decision structure. Here are the flowchart, syntax and programming example. Flowchart, first we have to test the condition. Next, if it is true, the condition is represented in rhombus. If it is true, it will execute one set of statements. If it is false, it will move on to the next set of statements. The syntax for this simple if condition, it will execute the statement. Next, example. So, if you visit a mall or a shop, they will display you on the board, that is, if you purchase for more than 10,000 rupees or 10,000 rupees worth, you will get a discount of 10%. How you will write in the program? If amount, purchase amount greater than or equal to 10,000, you will get a discount. Discount is equal to 10 by 100 within brackets into purchase amount. So you will write the code in this format. That is, if the purchase amount is greater than or equal to 10,000, discount is equal to 10 by 100 within brackets into the purchase amount semicolon. So this is called simple if. So when you purchase a cloth or a electronic gadget for rupees 10,000, so you will get discount, that is 10% discount on your items. The next construct in the selection construct is if else. It is used as a two-way branch decision structure. Means a set of statements are executed if the condition is true, and another set of statements are executed if the condition is false. So it is also called two-way branch decision structure. So here flowchart pattern is given. First, test the condition. If it is true, it will execute one set of statements. If it is false, it will execute another set of statements. Next, syntax, if condition, it will execute statement A, else. If condition is false, it will come to else part and it will execute statement B. Programming example, that is, I want to find the greater of two numbers, that is, A and B are the numbers. If A greater than B, suppose A value is greater, then it will print A is greater. Example, 5 and 4. 5 is greater than 4. So it will print A is greater than. Next, otherwise, suppose my input is 4 and 5. It will check the condition 4 greater than 5. If it is false, it will come to the else part, print B is greater. One more example we are going to discuss, that is, if the discount, if you will go for a purchase, you will get, if you purchase more than 10,000 rupees, or if you purchase for 10,000 rupees, you will get a discount of 10%. Otherwise, you will get a discount of 5%. How you will write the program for that? So, if the purchase amount or amount is greater than or equal to 10,000, discount is 10 by 100 into amount. That is 10 by 100 into amount. Else, discount is equal to 5 by 100 into amount. The next third selection construct is if else if. It is also called nested if or multi-way branching structure. Here we will test the condition. The condition is true means it will execute one set of statements. If the condition is false means it will go for check the condition again. Next, if the condition is true means it will execute one set of statements. If the condition is false means it will execute another set of statements. Next, so this multi-way branching structure means it is a construct has a condition which branches to one more if structure if the condition is true, and it branches to another when the condition is false. The flowchart pattern is given, that is, test the condition. If it is true, it will execute statement A. The condition is false means it will check one more condition. If it is true, it will execute statement B. The condition is false means it will execute statement C. Come to the syntax. If condition true means statement A will be executed. False means it will come to one more condition. Next, it will execute statement B. If the second condition is false means it will come to the else part and it will print statement C. Next is example. I want to find the largest of three numbers. So I will have A, B, C, three numbers. A, the first number will be compared with B and C. The condition is if A greater than B and A greater than C. So A is greater now. So print A is greater. Suppose the first condition is false. Maybe A is not greater than B or A is not greater than C. So in the first brackets it is B is greater. So I am comparing in the second condition B is greater than C. So then true means print B is greatest. Else print C is greatest. The next fourth construct is switch case construct. It is also known as multiple branching construct. One statement will be selected for execution out of many alternative statements. It is known as multiple alternative construct also. So here flowchart pattern will be displayed. First we have to test the condition. If it is case constant 1, statement A will be executed. Case constant 2 means statement B will be executed. Case constant 3 means statement C will be executed, and so on. If there is no match with the switch element means default statement will be executed. So syntax is switch element. Element may be expression or an variable or an condition. So case constant 1. So if it is a case constant 1, statement A is executed. So case constant will be compared or match with the switch element. So if it matches, it will execute that particular statement and it will come out of that construct. Otherwise, default construct will be executed. Now let us discuss switch case construct programming example. That is, print a day for the given number in a week. Example, switch day. If it is case 1, print Monday and break. Case 2 means print Tuesday and break. So this, suppose if I enter to execute a program, if I enter 1. So switch 1 means directly it will print Monday and it will come out of the construct. Suppose no case number is matching with the day, it will go to default statement and it will print wrong choice. So this is an example for switch case construct. Next construct in the programming construct is iterative construct or looping construct. What is meant by iterative construct? Iterative construct or statement means it is the ability of the program to repeatedly execute a sequence of statements until some condition is satisfied or a given number of times or till the condition becomes false. So this is called iterative construct or looping construct. So once we give the statement, it has to be repeated. So iterative statements are also called as repetitive statement. That statement will be repeated until the condition is satisfied or until the condition becomes false. This is also called looping statement. So there are three types of looping structures in C++. The first one is while loop, the second one is do while loop, the third one is for loop. So this is the second construct, programming construct in C++. Students, before discussing the while loop, we should know what are the looping elements first. The first one is initialization, the second one is condition checking, the third one is increment or decrement. Exactly where this condition we are going to place in the program, then we will decide whether it is a while loop construct or do while or for loop. The first one we are going to discuss the while loop. While loop means it is a pre-tested looping structure. Pre-tested means before test. That is, before executing we are going to check the condition. This structure checks the condition at the beginning of the structure. Example, if you want to join army or navy, they will do the test, medical test example. You are fit means they are going to they will allow you to take an appointment. The set of statements are executed again and again until the condition is true. So if the condition is true in while loop means it will execute the statements. When the condition becomes false, control will be transferred out of the structure. So while loop will execute the statements once the condition is true. If the condition becomes false means it will come out of the loop. So the general form of while structure is first initialize the loop counter, while condition. Next, if condition is true means it will execute the statements 1, 2 and it will have increment loop counter, then close. And if the condition is false means it will come to this statement 3. Flowchart pattern. First, in the rectangle, initialize or assign a value. Next, test condition. If the condition is true means it will execute one set of statements. Next, it will increment till the condition is satisfied. If the condition becomes false, it will print statement 3. Example program. So I want to print the numbers from 1 to 10. Initial value I will be assigned to 1. Next, I will check the condition while I less than or equal to 10. So if the condition is true, 1 is less than or equal to 10, print I. Print I means first it will print 1, I plus plus. Next 2, I plus plus means 2. 2 will be checked with the condition 2 less than or equal to 10. Again it will print 2, that is print I. So it will repeat the statement until it becomes 10. After it prints 1 to 10, it will come out of the loop. End of while. We are going to close the while loop. The next construct in the looping construct is do while construct. This is called post-tested looping construct, means we will check the condition at the end. This structure checks the condition at the end of the structure. It is also called exit controlled loop. The set of statements are executed again and again until the condition becomes true. When the condition becomes false, control is transferred out of the structure. It executes the statements at least once, even when the condition is false. Example, suppose students will take up the competitive exam like CET. 2 lakh students will take up. So, those who are eligible for the course, those who got the marks, they can opt for the course or they will allot the course. So, first every student will take the exam. So, those who got the marks, they are eligible to take up the course. Next, the flowchart pattern is, first we have to initialize, next we have to print the statements, next increment, looping counter, next we are going to test the condition. So condition is true means it is going to repeat the statements. If it is false, it will come out of the loop and it will print the statement 3 or execute the statement 3. Come to the general syntax. First, initialize the loop counter. Next, do. Open flower bracket, statement 1 and statement 2. Increment the loop counter. It will execute the statements. Next, increment will happen. Next, it will check the condition. So, if the condition is false means it will come to statement 3. Example program we are going to discuss. I want to print the numbers from 1 to 10. So, example, initial value I will assign I is equal to 11. Do print I means it is going to print 11. I plus plus means the value of I become 12. So I am going to check the condition while 12 less than or equal to 10. That is I value here in this program, after execution it becomes 12. So if the condition is false, it will come out of the loop, but it will print at least once the I value, that is 11. So next, if it is false, it will come out of the while loop. So we will close the while using end of do while statement. Students, let us discuss now the difference between the while and do while loop. While loop means it is a pre-tested looping structure. Do while means it is a post-tested looping structure. While loop, it tests the given condition at the beginning of the looping structure. It is also called entry control loop. Next, do while, it tests the given condition at the end of the looping structure. That is exit control loop. Next, in the while loop, it will not execute the statements even once if the condition returns false. But in case of do while, it will execute the statements once even when the condition returns false, because we check the condition at the end. Next, the syntax while test the condition, open the flower bracket, it will execute the statement 1 and 2 up to n and close the while loop. A syntax for do while, do, execute the statement 1, 2 up to n, and last it will check the condition while test condition. The third looping construct is for statement or for construct. This structure is the fixed looping construct. This structure is usually used when we know in advance exactly how many times a set of statements has to be executed or repeated again and again. So this structure can be used as incrementing or decrementing the looping structure. So for loop means it is a fixed execution structure. When we know number of times the statement has to be repeated again and again. So the general flowchart pattern is for in hexagon the looping construct we represent in hexagon for counter value. CV means counter value is equal to initial value to final value. Next, statement 1 and statement 2. Execute the statement 1 and statement 2. Next, increment the for loop. If it is false, the condition is false means it will come to stop. The general syntax is for initialization. We will initialize the value to a variable. Next, semicolon. Test counter. We will check the condition. Semicolon. Increment or decrement. We will increment or decrement the looping. Next, we have open flower bracket statement. We are going to execute the statement 1 and 2 and close the flower bracket. Next, if the condition is false means it will execute the next set of statements. Example program. I want to print the numbers from 0 to 10. Int I. So I is my initial value, that is 0. In the for loop, I am going to write the syntax, that is example program, for I is equal to 0. Initial value 0 will be assigned to I. Semicolon. I am going to check the condition I less than or equal to 10. So in the first pass 0 is less than or equal to 10. So it is true. Yeah, 0 is less than 10. I plus plus means I become 1. So print I means first time it will print 0. So I plus plus means again it will repeat the for loop. It becomes 1. So it will print the values until the condition is satisfied, that is up to 10. It will print from 0 to 10, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So then after the condition becomes false, it will end. That is end of for loop. Next concept we are going to discuss top-down analysis or top-down approach. What is top-down approach? It is also called as stepwise refinement. It is a technique of solving the problem by breaking the complex program into different levels of submodules until each module will perform a single task. So, breaking the complex program into different levels of submodules until each submodule performs a single task. It is a disciplined approach to system design or a program design in which top level functions are decomposed into hierarchy of understandable lower level modules. If you take up your banking application software, example deposits, withdrawal, balance inquiry, each module will perform only deposits, withdrawal will perform only withdraw. So each module will perform a particular task. Let us discuss one example for top-down analysis, that is to find the area of a triangle. The problem is area of a triangle. See, next is in this we have 4 modules, that is input, process, output and exit. Again, input is divided into 2 modules, that is breadth and height, that is B and H. Come to the process part, that is area we are going to compute with the formula of into base into height, that is having only 1 module. Next, after computation, we have to print that area under output module, that is area. The last is exit. Next, we discuss the advantages or the properties of top-down approach. First one is understandability. Everything is in a module, it is very easy to understand. And the second is clear identification of the task. Each module created should perform only one task. So this will help in clear identification of the task. Next is program maintenance. Modules provides a method for adding new functionality and maintain easily. The fourth one is testing and debugging. So program or a project is in modules means it is easy to test and debug. Next point is code reusability. So the modules which are working properly in one program can be copied to another program which requires the performance of the same task. It avoids rewriting the code again and again. Next concept is bottom-up analysis or design. So bottom-up design is the opposite of the top-down approach. means the smallest sub-problems are tested first and then combined to produce a larger solution. The small sub-problem solutions will have to be combined to a main program to ensure that they will function together. Example, in the bank, savings account and current account form a bank account. There are three different types of programming. The first one is procedural programming. The second one is structured programming. The third one is modular programming. The first one is procedural programming. The procedural programming, in the name itself, it process of instructions in order to perform a desired computation. So mainly it emphasizes on doing things, that is algorithms. So there is no data security and it is very difficult to represent real world objects. Example, Fortran, BASIC and C language. The second programming is structured programming. Means it is a planned technique of programming using the concept of sequence, selection, iteration and modularity. This structured programming will have a single entry and single exit. Advantages of structured programming: it is easy to write and understand. It reduces the complexity of the program. Easy to test and debug because modularity in nature. Easy to maintain. And functionality is decomposed into logical working units. It allows multiple programs to work at the same time. Modules can be reused using code reusability. Next is modular programming. First, we should understand what is modularity. It is a self-contained collection of steps that solve a particular problem or performs a single task. Each program segment is called as module. The process of splitting the lengthier and complex programs into a number of smaller units is called modularization. So the programming with such approach is called modular programming. Advantages of modular programming. So it's like your structured program. So code reusability is possible. Debugging and testing is easier. Portability means same program can be run on different platforms, and building a library. So it is possible to build a set of commonly used modules in a library. The main disadvantage is that is lengthy. Let us discuss what is stepwise refinement. It is a technique of solving the problem by breaking the complex program into different levels of submodules until each submodule performs a single task. So next is characteristics of a good program. The good program requires less space in memory and takes less execution time. And modifications, it will allow modifications easily. And portability means same program can be run on different platforms. Students, this completes your chapter 5 problem solving technology. So here are the some assignment questions for 1 mark and 2 marks. And also for 5 marks questions have displayed. Go through it. All the best.